Welcome to the Explainer. So if you've ever sat at your study desk, looked at your biology textbook, and thought taxonomy was just about memorizing long, complicated Latin words, well, prepare to have your mind completely changed. Today, we're looking at naming nature, the high stakes of biological classification. And trust me on this, the stakes are incredibly high. Let's get our notes ready.
Okay, let's dive into this and get our lesson plan up on the virtual whiteboard. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The stakes of biological classification. 2. When taxonomy goes wrong. 3. Naming a new discovery. And 4. The rules of binomial nomenclature.
Starting right off with Section 1, the stakes of biological classification and why getting it right actually matters.
You know, we often treat classification like it's just this tedious exercise in rote memorization, something you just kind of have to grind through to pass a test. But honestly, it is so much more than just filing things away in a dusty drawer. Take a look at this textbook excerpt. This is our foundational text for today, and it lays things out perfectly. Classifying life correctly is the absolute bedrock of science, conservation, and ecology. It's literally how we survive and make sense of the natural world.
So here's a question for you to jot down. What happens if we put an organism in the wrong taxonomic box? Think about it for a second. If you mislabel a file on your laptop, it's, a minor headache. You run a search, you find it, you fix it, no big deal. But placing a species in the wrong category, that is not just a typo. That's a fundamental error that ripples out into the real world.
Which brings us to Section 2, when taxonomy goes wrong and the dangerous domino effect it causes.
The placement of an organism in the wrong group causes some seriously compounding problems. Just look at this list. In conservation, you might actually end up protecting a harmful, invasive species instead of an endangered one, totally mismanaging entire habitats in the process. And in medicine and agriculture, wow. Knowing the exact species is literally the difference between discovering a life-saving drug and accidentally cultivating a useless weed. If we misunderstand an organism's specific role in the food web, we can completely disrupt the entire ecosystem.
Basically, a single mistake at the taxonomy desk triggers this massive domino effect. It's like a giant puzzle where one wrong piece ruins the whole picture. One error cascades right down through conservation efforts, medical research, and our agriculture systems. Because if you don't know who is eating whom, the whole ecological balance just completely breaks down.
To really sum up the why of our lesson today, our text states it beautifully. Quote, "Overall, accurate classification is essential for effective conservation, reliable research, and maintaining ecological balance." Unquote. Really highlight that in your notes because that is the golden rule here.
All right, let's switch gears for Section 3, naming a new discovery, where you are the scientist.
I want you to imagine you are the one who discovers a brand new organism. Maybe it's a completely unique insect hidden away in a dense rainforest, or some wild microscopic life form deep in a volcanic vent. What exactly do you do next to make sure it gets properly classified?
Let's move to the whiteboard and see how this builds, because there are 5 precise textbook steps for classifying your amazing new discovery. Step 1, you have to study its unique characteristics. We're talking its structure, function, and behavior. Step 2, compare it with existing organisms. What's it similar to? Step 3, place it correctly into the grand taxonomic hierarchy. Step 4, assign it a scientific name. And finally, Step 5, publish your findings in a journal for validation.
And that takes us directly to Section 4, the rules of binomial nomenclature, which is basically the universal language of life.
Before we give your discovery a name, let's visualize that hierarchy from Step 3 again. You start really broad and then zoom all the way in. Think of it like a funnel. You go from kingdom down to phylum, class, order, family, genus, and zooming all the way down to the most specific level, species. Which brings us to the actual naming process. The text defines the rules of binomial nomenclature very clearly. It is a formalized system of assigning a scientific name to an organism, and it always consists of 2 parts, a genus name and a species name. Just think of the word itself, bi meaning 2, nomial meaning name. It's simply a 2-name system.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the strict formatting rules for this 2-part name. The first name represents the genus, and it absolutely must be capitalized. The second part represents the species, and that is always written in lowercase. This rigor is so important because it ensures that whether you're naming a standard fruit fly or something totally ridiculous like Spongiforma squarepantsy, which, yes, is a real mushroom, by the way, the entire global scientific record stays perfectly aligned.
But hey, remember that 5th step on our list?
You weren't done just because you picked a really cool name with the right capital letters. You have to publish. Science is a massive collaborative effort. Your new name isn't officially recognized until the broader scientific community can review your hard work and validate it in a peer-reviewed journal.
So, as we wrap up today's lesson, I'll leave you with this to think about. If you discovered a brand new species today, what would you name it? Get creative. Just remember your formatting rules. Capital genus, lowercase species. Keep questioning how the natural world is organized. Keep taking great notes, and we'll catch you next time on The Explainer.